What is up, awesome people of the internet, and welcome to episode 3 of Women's Basketball Weekly, your weekly source for all things women's basketball. And guys, we have a big show for you today. The WNBA Finals is over. We have a new champion, so we're going to discuss that a little bit and also talk about how when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. We also will talk about the second time that a team went back-to-back to win championships, the 2021 and 2022 Los Angeles Sparks. We're going to talk about Angel Reese and her new deal with Reebok and how Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson helped to make that happen. We will also give you some updates from last week's episode talking about Rhyne Howard and Aliyah Boston. And we'll finish off talking about the Chinese Women's Basketball Association. All right, so a lot for us to talk about, but before we get into it, if I can ask you for 2 favors, please give me an assist by hitting the like button. It really helps to have more people find this video. Also, if you can let me know in the comments, what was your favorite part about this week in women's basketball? All right, let me know those thoughts. I would love to read them in the comment section below. All right, so let's get into it. So the WNBA Finals ended on October the 18th in New York with the Las Vegas Aces bringing home the new and improved trophy. And I would say the finals truly went down to 2 unlikely players showing up and showing out. But before we get into that, in Game 4, let's talk about Game 1 and Game 2. In Game 1 and 2, Vegas completely dominated the Liberty, winning Game 1, 99-82, and Game 2, 104-76. So huge margins for the Las Vegas Aces. The Aces' big 6 of Jackie Young, A'ja Wilson, Kia Stokes, Kelsey Plum, Chelsea Gray, and Aliyah Clark did their thing on scoring. And also they did their thing in terms of rebounding as well. They didn't allow the Liberty to have their way at all. And it really felt like it was the Aces series to win just watching those 2 games. You had Chelsea Gray making movies on the court. You had Kia Stokes, who ended up hitting some buckets. She rarely scores, so that was kind of fun to see. You had A'ja Wilson dominating as always, and you had Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum doing their thing, and Aliyah Clark doing her thing more on the defensive end. And it was just very good to see for the Las Vegas Aces. It seemed like they had it.
This performance, is it safe to say, out of these past 2 years, this was the best performance the team's ever had?
It was a great performance, and I hope the girls enjoy it tonight. I'll do my little Pop Junior and be like, my wine will taste better tonight. No, I mean, it was a great performance. That being said, my job is to keep us on the straight and narrow, and with the understanding that we've got thumped in their building twice. So we're going to come with the appropriate respect, the appropriate focus and emotion for the moment. And, going to New York, we'll make some little tweaks here and there, adjustments and whatnot. But we still have tremendous amounts of respect for this team. Like, they've just proven they can score a lot in a small amount of time. So we'll enjoy it tonight. But then we will be locked in a room with the coaches, dissecting every aspect of the game.
And for the Liberty, it felt like all their players were off this entire series. Regular season MVP Breanna Stewart struggled in the postseason, and she still couldn't find a way to consistently score in this finals. She was 6 of 17 from the field in the first game, only finishing Game 1 with 14 points. And in Game 2, she was 8 of 19, finishing with only 21 points. Former MVP Jonquel Jones defensively was pretty solid. Offensively, she was a lot more efficient than Stewie, but in my opinion, she needed a lot more touches in the basket at the basket for Game 1 and Game 2. She finished Game 1 shooting 58% with 16 points. In Game 2, she had 66%, scoring 22 points. And for the rest of the team, Sabrina Ionescu and Courtney Vandersloot really struggled, not being able to hit shots. Also, Benijah Laney was okay, but not really her normal self. In Game 2, Maureen Johannes came off the bench early in the first half and hit some big shots, but then was kind of moved to the background as the game went on because she she couldn't get open to hit her shots in the second half because the Las Vegas Aces kind of changed their defense a little bit. But overall, the guards of New York couldn't really do anything against the guards of the Las Vegas Aces. They were getting killed on almost all metrics in Game 1 and Game 2. And overall, the Liberty looked like a shell of a team. They didn't look like the number 2 team in the league. They didn't look like the team that went through the Washington Mystics and the Connecticut Sun to get to the finals. They weren't making adjustments at all in Game 1 and Game 2.
I'm just curious why you think the team that beat the Aces 3 times in August isn't here, and why is it so difficult for that team to be here and performing how they did?
Great question. I think first thing, Vegas are playing their best basketball at the moment. They're playing with a lot of confidence. You see the chemistry that they have. And for us, we haven't taken steps forward. We haven't shown it. We haven't been, we're disappointed, very disappointed, because we're a way better team than what we showed. So I don't know why. Is it because of our opponent? Possibly. But we're better. We're better than this. So the challenge is to go home and to win on Sunday.
So heading into Game 3 that was going to take place in New York, myself, along with many others on the internet, thought that we would see a sweep. But it didn't go out that way. In Game 3, the Liberty came out swinging, led by Jonquel Jones, who really showed up and showed out, hitting 4 big three-pointers and finishing with 27 points. And I thought defensively, the Liberty did a very good job defending the Aces guards, with the exception of Kelsey Plum. Also, I do think they did a great job defensively against A'ja Wilson. And the Liberty, they made the necessary adjustments, both offensively and defensively, to win Game 3 on their home court. And for the Aces, basically from the jump in Game 3, it felt like they were going to lose the game. A'ja Wilson and Jackie Young were not efficient. They went 25% and 22% respectively from the field. Kelsey Plum did her thing. She hit 29 points. But overall, the Aces were off. And it didn't help at all that in the fourth quarter, Chelsea Gray went down with a devastating foot injury. It felt like the Aces lost momentum in Game 3.
What did they do tonight to kind of create better looks for them offensively from your perspective?
They played harder, for one. I felt like we were on our heels from the jump. So just the aggressive factor. They switched a couple of their matchups. I don't think that should shave 40 points off of our score. It was, give them credit. It's a feat to beat any team 3 times in a row. We knew they weren't going to go away. We know they're good in this building. And they played better than us tonight, flat out. Played more aggressive, more physical, and shot it better.
How much did you tweak to kind of get yourselves better looks on the offensive end? Or as we were talking the last couple of days about shots weren't just falling, was this a day where the shots just kind of went down?
A bit of everything, quite honest. We all moving the ball. We got back to our identity, defensively. That created some offensive stuff. And we'll just, wait and paint to great, good to great. We're able to get downhill, get some open looks. And we made some shots. So I think that gives us good momentum as well. But we tweaked a few things. So how can we get great looks? But then in the end, it's all about, being selfless and moving the ball to the next action and being confident to shoot the shot.
So this kind of leads us into Game 4. The Aces were in the driver's seat for the start of the series, but it felt like they were losing the wheel. Their star point guard and leader, Chelsea Gray, was on a foot scooter, and their starting center, Kia Stokes, is on crutches. And having 2 starters sidelined on a team that only plays a 6-man roster was extremely concerning for Las Vegas Aces fans. And with that information in mind, I really thought that the Liberty had it, and they were going to win Game 4 at home and likely win Game 5 on the road in Vegas. But there's that old saying, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. The Aces beat the Liberty in a nail-biter 70-69 win to win the WNBA championship. In Game 4, the Aces saw some unlikely heroes in Kayla George and Sydney Colson. During this season, Kayla only played in 32 games. And when she got in, she played, for the most part, in garbage minutes. Similar thing for Sydney Colson. She only played in 28 games this season, with less than 4 minutes played per game. And did both of these players know going into the season that they probably wasn't going to play very much? Yes, likely they figured they probably wasn't going to play. But these ladies stayed ready. They hustled every day in practice, and they were ready for whenever they got their next opportunity. And boy, did they get an opportunity. With Kia Stokes out, Kayla George started for the Aces and played a whopping 30 minutes. And she balled out. This girl was shooting threes galore. Like, she shot so many threes. She went 3 of 10 from the three-point line. So not the most efficient three-point stats. However, every single shot she made was critical to the Aces winning this game. Should she finish with one less three, the Aces lose. And she finished the game with 11 points, which you might say, what's the big deal? Whatever. She made 11. She got 11 points. Well, I would say this is a big deal because she's a player that most thought of as a bench warmer. She played in Game 4. She played better than WNBA regular season MVP Breanna Stewart. That's a big deal. Yes, Breanna Stewart had a very off game, but the fact that a quote unquote bench warmer did better than the MVP says a lot. She finished the game again with 11 points. Stewie only had 10 points in this game. That's a big deal, y'all. And for Sydney Colson, she ended up coming off the bench in Game 4 and played 14 minutes. And so that's way more than her normal minutes per game. And she was working on defense. She committed 5 fouls, and she did her job, which was really to make it tough for the Liberty guards to do their thing on offense. Sydney Colson is very solid on defense, and she put on a defensive clinic in Game 4 of the WNBA Finals. And that was exactly what she needed to do. Sure, she only finished with 2 points in this game, but defensively, she was amazing. She finished the game with a 17 rating in terms of efficiency, leading the entire game. She led in efficiency for both the Aces and the New York Liberty. Like, she was phenomenal when she got on the court. Yes, she didn't have that many points, but defensively, if you actually watched Game 4, you saw how much of a difference that Sydney Colson made when she got on the court. And both Kayla and Sydney, even though they haven't played much this season, they're not scrubs. Kayla is a 4-time WNBL champion. That's Australia's Women's Basketball League. And last season, she was the MVP of the NWBL. So definitely not a scrub. And Sydney Colson, who played at Texas A&M during college, has been more of a journeywoman of sorts in the WNBA. But for years, she's made a roster. And while she didn't play much minutes on really any of the teams she's played on, she's contributed to her teams. And it's evident because she's always found a way to make a roster. There was a small stint of time where she wasn't on a roster, but for the last several years, she's made a roster every single year.
I can't tell you the amount of teammates that I've come across or people I've seen in training camps that don't last because of attitude. And so for us to be 10-year vets who have never played super significant minutes on a team, TP says a line in our show that's you know how hard it is to maintain a job with 0 stats? Which is for 10 years, it's a little bit of a stretch. You have stats, but they're not significant. They're nothing that will make people who haven't watched our sport look at a piece of paper and say me or TP should still be in the league.
Dang, we need that on the team.
We need that. I need that point. I need that point to assist over 8 years from Sid. You know what I'm saying? But you look at our dynamic on our team, you would never know. You would think that we're leaders on a team because of how people respect us, because we show up every day. We do what we're supposed to do. We go above and beyond. We make sure we take care of our teammates on and off the court. You do a lot of managing, personalities and attitudes that, y'all know what locker rooms are like.
Yeah.
You have to manage a lot of stuff, and there will be people who don't play minutes, and they can be on the end of the bench, be pissy, be having an attitude, just taking the energy of the team down. Had me and TP been like that last year, we would have been cut.
Yeah.
But we
Championship
weren't.
team.
We realized what we were a part of, and not that we would have had attitudes anyways, but you're just like, this is about to be a championship caliber team. I would be stupid to blow this because I'm mad I'm not playing. You know what I'm saying?
And they could have just sulked and have gone through practices and just sat on the bench at games, but they didn't. They worked hard in practice trying to get the starters ready and prepared. They were super active on the bench celebrating their teammates. And when their number was unexpectedly called, they were ready for that moment and they showed up and showed out. And to me, y'all, that truly is the stories of the final. What Sydney Colson and what Kayla George was able to do truly was amazing. Yes, you have Asia Wilson who played lights out in Game 4 and was phenomenal and won the Finals MVP. That's awesome. She was great. But personally, I try to focus on some of those unsung heroes, the people who we didn't expect to make a difference and did. And to me, that was the story of this finals. Yes, it was the New York Liberty kind of falling and turning into a shell of a team of sorts. But it was also for the Aces, those two critical injuries and how two players stepped up off the bench. The New York Liberty, they were a team that had all of their starters. They were a team that was one of the super teams of the league, versus the Aces in Game 4 that weren't really a super team anymore because Candace Parker was injured, and then also they were missing their starting point guard and their starting center. And so for this team, this hobbled Aces team, to win in Game 4 against the super team that was healthy, though, as we heard in post-game interviews, there were some injuries possibly that some players were dealing with. That's a huge deal, and they don't win without Kayla George and Sydney Colson doing their thing for sure. And if you remember the NCAA championship, Jasmine Carson was a similar case.
Hands it off, Carson breaks it in.
She was a player who, leading up to that game, didn't really play very much. But when her name was called, she was ready and she balled out. Again, guys, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And this is a good lesson for anybody in really any situation. Yes, for basketball players who are riding the bench right now, hey, stay ready, keep working. Because you never know when an opportunity comes. It may be because of injury. It may be because of sickness or whatever. But when your name is called, making sure that you're ready. Same thing for like in life, in work. If you feel like you're not getting that time to shine, okay, bide your time. Make sure you're hustling and doing the work that you need to do. And when your time comes up, you will be ready to shine and make a name for yourself. And that truly is what I think Kayla and Sydney did. And I really want to celebrate that. All right, guys, that was my recap of the WNBA Finals. The Las Vegas Aces defeat the New York Liberty to become back-to-back champs. What do y'all think about this game of Game 4? What do y'all think about the entire series? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Also, let me know specifically what you thought about Kayla and Sydney's performance. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this section, please give this video a thumbs up. All right, guys, on to the next one. The Phoenix Mercury have named a new coach in Nate Tibbetts. One thing to note is Nate has never coached women's basketball before, but he does have almost 2 decades of experience as an NBA and G League coach. He was an assistant coach for the Orlando Magic, Portland Trail Blazers, and Cleveland Cavaliers, and he also spent some time in the G League with the Tulsa 66ers and the Sioux Falls Skyforce. One thing to also note is that his dad used to be a women's basketball coach, and he talked a lot about that in the past. And I'll give you guys more details about Nate's hire with a video later this week. I'm going to include some video from the Mercury's press conference with Nate, talk about how Nate has Diana Taurasi's thumbs up for being the head coach. I'll talk about some of the critiques that Nate has gotten on his hire, and if men really should be WNBA coaches. All right, stay tuned for that video when it drops later in the week. All right, y'all. For this week's edition of In the History Books, we explore the last time that the WNBA had back-to-back champs. So in 2002, the LA Sparks defeated the New York Liberty to win their second title in a row. Amazing. But how did this team get to that point to win a back-to-back championship? Well, it started in 2000 when the LA Sparks went on a 3-year stretch with a record of 81-15. In 2000, the team didn't play at the Staples Center. They played at the Great Western Forum. They were coached by Michael Cooper, and they ended up that year in first place in the Western Conference with a record of 28-4. The team was led by Lisa Leslie, Delisha Milton-Jones, Mwati Mabuka, and Tamika Dixon. In 2000, the Sparks would make it all the way to the Western Conference Finals, where they would lose to the eventual winners, the Houston Comets. In the offseason, the team would regroup, and they came back in 2001 on a mission to win it all. And they did. Lisa Leslie had an MVP season, averaging almost a double-double with 19.5 points a game and 9.6 rebounds. The team had a record of 28-4, and they were finally able to move from the Great Western Forum to the Staples Center, where they were able to finally get over the hump in the West, beating both the Houston Comets and the Sacramento Monarchs to face Dawn Staley and the Charlotte Sting in the WNBA Finals. In 2001, the LA Sparks won their first championship in franchise history. This team was, of course, led by Lisa Leslie, who played lights out, really, and capped off a spectacular season. She finished that season in 2001 as the regular season MVP, as the All-Star MVP, and as the Finals MVP. Like, what a trifecta. This, I think, is still to this day the only time in the WNBA that a player had all 3 MVP honors. Like, that was truly, truly amazing to see her have that amazing year. And y'all, there's a lot that I can specifically say about Lisa Leslie. And I will talk about how transcendent she was as a women's basketball player in a future episode. I'm going to specifically highlight her for the entire In Their History Books segment. But for right now, Lisa Leslie was freaking amazing. And in 2000 in particular, she was at the top of her game. And so the LA Sparks won the championship in 2001. And with that win on their home court at Staples Center, they were flying high. They were the best team in the world that was led by the best player in the world. And they were looking to repeat. And repeat they did. In 2002, the LA Sparks added a new piece to the team in rookie Nikki Teasley, who had a huge impact on this team. She started every regular season game. Nikki was drafted in 2002 by the Portland Fire with the 5th overall pick. And after she was drafted, she was then traded to the LA Sparks. The LA Sparks would finish off this season in first place in the Western Conference with a record of 25-7. They would go on to sweep the Seattle Storm, sweep the Utah Stars to make it to the finals, where they would face now head coaches in the WNBA, Teresa Weatherspoon and Becky Hammon, when they played for the New York Liberty. The Sparks would sweep the Liberty to win their second championship, with Lisa Leslie once again dominating and winning the Finals MVP for a second time. And an interesting New York Liberty fact to know is that by 2002, the New York Liberty had lost in the WNBA Finals 4 times. And this year, again, they lost in the WNBA Finals. And they are still the last original team left standing who has not won a WNBA championship. Who knows when they'll be able to be able to accomplish that. Maybe it's next year. Who knows? Let me know what y'all think about the New York Liberty in particular and the fact that they still haven't won a championship in the comments below. And also, I have a fun LA history fact for you. Did you know in a 3-year span, the LA Lakers and the LA Sparks would combine to win 5 championships from that span in the early 2000s. And if you don't remember, this was a time where Shaq and Kobe both played for the LA Lakers, and they were just a really stacked team. You had Robert Horry, you had Derek Fisher, like lots of amazing players who played on that team. All right, guys, so that was your history lesson for this week. Let me know if you remember this version of the Sparks. I remember this time specifically because I was a huge LA Sparks fan. I was a huge LA Lakers fan. And also at the time, I was a huge Sacramento Monarchs and also Sacramento Kings fan. Just California. I just loved the California basketball teams. And what I remember the most about this time was that I was a huge fan of both Lisa Leslie and Shaq. Just sort of watching them dominate and play at the highest level made me want to be a basketball player. And at the time, I was tall for my age, so I wanted to be a post player, and I wanted to dominate just like them. And unfortunately, I didn't grow up as tall as they was, so I had to eventually resign myself to the fact that I would never play in the WNBA, and I would always just be a massive fan. But watching Lisa Leslie play, it inspired me. And I know it inspired lots of other little girls at the time to aim high and try their best. Truly, Lisa Leslie was phenomenal during that time period. And I myself remember this time very vividly because I really wanted to be like Lisa Leslie. And also Shaq, for that matter, too. LA was killing with both the Lakers and the Sparks at that time. So I kind of shared my story about watching this 2001 and 2002 version of the LA Sparks. Do you have a story to share? Do you have a memory of watching this team play at that time? And if you do, share it below. I would love to hear what you all have to say. All right, now on to college. And I have a question for you. What happens when Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, and Angel Reese walk into a room? Well, a Reebok announcement. Y'all, Reebok is back and they're trying to revive their basketball line, and they're doing it with legendary Reebok athletes Allen Iverson and Shaq. Allen Iverson and Shaq were signed with Reebok straight out of college. Shaq was signed in 1992 and AI was signed in 1996. They went on to have several signature shoes during that time. AI was recently announced as the vice president of Reebok's basketball edition, and Shaq is now the president of the basketball division at Reebok. AI is going to help with player recruitment, grassroots initiatives, and also events like the Iverson Classic. Shaq will be shaping the basketball division strategy and also partnerships with athletes and organizations. And even though both AI and Shaq recently started in their new roles, they have a new announcement. And you may be wondering, what was their first endeavor in their new roles? Well, it was signing one of the hottest college players in the game right now, in Angel Reese. And whether you love her or you hate her, you have to admit that Angel Reese is a bona fide star. Coming off last season, Angel Reese won a national championship with LSU. She was an All-American. She was named as the most outstanding player in the tournament. She's a big deal, and she has the NIL deals to prove it, with a valuation of $1.7 million, with deals with Airbnb, Zoa Energy, Wingstop, and others. So why did Shaq and Allen Iverson go with signing Angel Reese for their first endeavor?
She's probably the greatest athlete ever to come out of LSU sports. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Man and
I
female.
love the competitive. I love
Did you
the
hear what I just
competitive
said?
aspect. Male and
Did you hear what I just
female.
said? Male and
The
female.
best?
She's just,
Yourself included.
yes, because guess what?
boy.
She delivered. She delivered that package. See, a lot of us got the package and we still got the package in our truck. She delivered that package. So, it's a lot of names you could throw around, men and women, but she's probably the greatest athlete. Some people's going to exclude her to women athlete. I'm not doing that. She's the greatest athlete to ever come out of this because she got it done. Joe Burrow got it done a couple years ago, but she's way more athletic than he is. So you heard it here first.
And when asked about why she wanted to be a part of the Reebok family, Angel Reese said it started off by talking to Shaq and understanding the values that align with the brand. As a former athlete, now that he's been announced as the president of basketball, that is inspirational to me. Just being able to see an athlete or former athlete shift from not being an athlete, but being the president of a brand is something that's important. I would love to do that one day. So what does this NIL deal include? Well, it includes Angel's Picks, a personalized collection of products that Angel hand-selected. Eventually, she's going to work on releasing her own collection that she will also help design. Y'all, Angel Reese is flying high right now with attention, and she's in the spotlight. And it seems like Reebok is going to give her a signature shoe, likely in the next year, especially if LSU wins another championship. So guys, that is the story. Let me know what you all think about what AI and Shaq are doing at Reebok. Also, let me know what you all think about Reebok signing Angel Reese to an NIL deal. And if she gets a shoe, would you buy it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, a fun Reebok story. I used to love Reeboks when I was a kid. I remember wearing Shaq shoes in particular. I love Shaq shoes when I was a kid. So shout out to Shaq and Allen Iverson for what they're doing at Reebok, and I really hope that they are successful. All right, and a couple of quick updates from you from last week. I let you know about Aliyah Boston's new role at the Big Ten, and she recently had her first assignment interviewing Iowa's Caitlin Clark. Now, y'all, this was an amazing interview. I highly encourage you to watch the entire thing.
I'm gonna do this interview a little bit different. So I know that you're a Taylor Swift fan.
Oh yeah, I do like
Okay.
Taylor Swift. Okay, I'm not like diehard, but I do like. I'm a new Taylor Swift fan.
Okay, but that still counts.
Yeah.
So we're gonna rock out. So first, I'm gonna give you this bracelet.
Oh, stop!
22.
It's so cute.
Obvious
Thanks.
reasons. Of course. So we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
Aliyah Boston ended up asking questions based off of Taylor Swift songs, which I thought was pretty cool, especially because Caitlin Clark is a huge Taylor Swift fan. Here are some of my favorite parts from this interview.
Like, what is it like to get to the point in the game where you know you're leaving the opponents and even the fans breathless?
Breathless. Okay, I like this.
You are projected to be the #1 pick in the top pick in the draft next year. What does being the one mean
The
to
one. Well, the Indiana Fever could have the first pick, so people may not, maybe will have the duo. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But me and Aliyah might be teammates at some point. You never know. We were teammates before,
We were,
so maybe we'll have to reconnect. I don't know. That's up to you guys. I don't know. We'll have to see. Can't give out any answers, but no.
Absolutely. I mean, I started this interview out just by saying...
I know which one this is going to be, I feel like.
I started this interview talking about how everything has changed and how there's been high expectations and so many challenges that you could potentially face. So really, I'm just going to end it with, are you ready for it?
Hey! Also one of the best songs she performed. I think it was right after Bad Blood. She shoots off fire and stuff, which I think kind of aligns well with me. But yes, I'm ready for it.
Also, last week I talked about Rhyne Howard and how she's going to be the assistant coach at Florida. At last week's SEC Media Day, Kentucky coach Kyra Elzy was asked about Rhyne Howard, and here is what she said.
Your former player, Rhyne Howard, is back in the SEC at Florida. What's it like having her back? Was there any discussion with her to have her maybe come to Kentucky?
You know, I'm so happy for Ryan. She's an unbelievable talent. She knows exactly where home is. She had a great career at Kentucky, and it's relationships goes way beyond the 4 years. So I'm excited for her to be back in the SEC, something on her resume. Obviously, she's killing it in the WNBA, but when the ball stops bouncing, our goal for every player, not just Ryan, is to make sure that they're prepared for life after basketball. So she was just in Lexington maybe a week ago, and she was in our huddle. And I said, you know what? I'm just so proud of you. You have a WNBA job, but also another job. So you are a productive citizen of the world. So we did something right at Kentucky. So happy and proud for her.
All right, guys, now on to overseas talk. And this week, we're going to talk about the WCBA, the Women's Chinese Basketball Association, and the WNBA players who are playing in this league. The WCBA was created in 2002. The WCBA was created in 2002, and it is the women's league for the CBA, China's men's basketball league. This is sort of similar to the WNBA and the NBA. The league has 17 teams, and most of the players in the league are Chinese, but each year they do have a notable contingent of WNBA players that play. Some of the notable names that played in the past include Maya Moore, Chiney Nneka Ogwumike, Tamika Catchings, Liz Cambage. Also, Finals MVP AJ Wilson played in this Chinese league in 2018, averaging 37 points a game until she got hurt and ended up returning home. And before I go any further, I do want to give a huge shout out to Chinese Women's Hoop Show on Twitter for making information about this season of the Chinese Basketball League, making it accessible to folks who do not speak the language. All right, y'all. So lots of WNBA players have played in the league, but the league itself isn't that competitive when you compare it to European and Australia's leagues. But it is a good payday for WNBA players. All right, so let's get into this season for the WCBA. They started league play on October the 17th, and there is a decent amount of WNBA players participating. We have the Connecticut Sun's Alyssa Thomas, Tina Charles, who is currently teamless in the WNBA, Olivia Nelson-Ododa with the Connecticut Sun, Cheyenne Parker of the Atlanta Dream, Lee Ming of the Washington Mystics, Han Shu of the New York Liberty, Dallas Wings Tierra McCowan, Satu Sabli, also of the Dallas Wings, and Kennedy Carter, who is also teamless in the WNBA. So those are the players so far who are playing in the Chinese Basketball League. And in terms of how they're doing, Alyssa Thomas is dominating already. She recently scored 24 points, 23 rebounds, and 9 assists in one of her games. Tina Charles is also doing very well so far. She had 22 points and 11 rebounds and 4 assists in one of her games. So unfortunately, I don't have a ton of information to share about this Chinese league and what's going on, because overall it's very, very hard to find information in English. But before I end this section, I do want to let you all know that there is a chance that Breanna Stewart may head over to China to play. All right, guys, that is episode 3 of Women's Basketball Weekly. And I do want to just say thank you for watching this episode and making it all the way to the end. I really, really appreciate it. Let me know what you all thought about the sections that I featured, the segments that I featured. Also, let me know what you all liked and what you didn't like about the show. I want to improve every single week with different aspects about the show, with the delivery, with the things that I cover. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I really, truly would love to hear what you all have to say to help make this show really the best women's basketball show in the world, basically. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your critiques. Let me know your comments. I really appreciate it. If you all have not liked this video yet, if you can please like it, that would be great. And if you could do me another favor, please let someone know about this channel. This is the 3rd week of Women's Basketball Weekly, and I want to make sure that all folks who love women's basketball are able to know that this thing exists and know that there's a place that they can go each week to kind of generally find out what's going on in the world of women's basketball. Thank you all so much in advance. And until next time, guys. Bye.